Python coders. So a couple of days ago, I came across this article by a gentleman named Martin Fitzpatrick. If you're not familiar with him, I'm going to just click through the website here. This website is actually Python GUIs, GUIS.com. And Martin has written a series of books on both PyQt 5 and PyQt 6. He also has a book out called Packaging Python Applications with PyInstaller. It's actually very, very decent if you're going to be using PyInstaller to package your applications. So I am subscribed to this YouTube page, the Facebook page for this guy, and I saw that he did an article, or he updated an article anyway, on the 26th of February, 2024, on comparing the Python GUI libraries available in 2024. So what I want to do is I'm going to go over this article with you today. There are some things here that I definitely agree with, and there are things that I wholeheartedly do not. So I wanted to give you my perspective on this as a guy who has been doing Python GUI development for quite a few years now. So in this article, we will look at a selection of the most popular Python GUI frameworks currently available and why you should consider using them for your own projects. Some of this I think is a little hokey, and I'll get into that. You'll learn about the relative strengths of each library, understand the licensing, and see a sample Hello World. Well, we don't really care about that. In the end of the article, you should feel confident choosing the right library for your projects. I don't agree with this. I think this guy kind of goes off the rails in places. To get started, those of you who have watched my other videos know how much I hate TKEnter. And I don't hate TKEnter per se. I just think that the usage of TKEnter has been way overrated. So what he says here is best for simple tool GUIs, small portable applications. Okay. And they always begin these articles with TKEnter is the de facto GUI framework for Python. It comes bundled with Python both on Windows and Mac OS. On Linux it may require, yeah, it does. TKEnter is a wrapper written around TK GUI Toolkit. Its name is an amalgamation. If you don't know what that means, it means a combining of the words TK and interface. TKEnter is a simple library with support for standard layouts, blah, 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 blah. All right, why do I have such a dislike of TKEnter? Well, there's two basic reasons. One thing, TKEnter is now about 10,000 years out of date. When you're thinking about technology and computer technology, programming and all that, several years, even 10 years, is like me sitting here and going all the way back to the Italian Renaissance into the 16th century. These things move at a very, very rapid pace. And TKEnter, past the mid-90s, has kind of been sitting there floundering like a fish, flopping out of water here. And I don't understand why we continue to push this. Also, they always say that TKEnter is simple. It's a simple library. It's a simple library. Well, I want to say something a little different. TKEnter is deceptively simple. So in other words, you'll find an article written on TKEnter, or you will find a YouTube tutorial on TKEnter, and usually these tutorials are simple applications like a calculator application or maybe a notepad style application, and they always do one of these. So somebody who is sitting there looking at what GUI library should I use, watches these things and says, oh, okay, well that only took them about 20 minutes. Well, excuse me, that's true. It only took them about 20 minutes, but here's the thing. You see that, you sit back and you go, well, I should be able to write an entire ERP, an enterprise application planning or resource planning, in about, 2-3 days? And the answer is you're going to run into some serious problems. TKEnter is too simple. In other words, you are going to very quickly run into something that every other GUI library will do, And then you're going to say, well, how do I implement that in TKEnter? And then you're going to fall down a rabbit hole. And you're going to work on it and work on it and work on it. And then you'll come to the realization, as many people have done, and you'll say, well, you know, if I had used WXPython or I had used Qt for Python, PySide, I'd be done by now. I'd have everything I need. And that is definitely the case. In one of my videos, there was a gentleman who commented, and he said this is basically what happened to him. He got suckered into the idea that TKEnter was simple and easy to use, but he quickly found out that it has some pretty big limitations, and he said he fell down the rabbit hole. And in order to get himself out of it, he actually switched to Qt, and he said, well, everything I wanted was actually in Qt. So please, for the love of all that is holy, do not even entertain the idea of using TKEnter. Yes, it is built into Python. You're on Windows and Mac. And yes, it is simple, but you're going to very quickly dig yourself into a hole that you could get out of by using another GUI framework. I thought this was really funny too. TKEnter is cross-platform. However, the widgets can look outdated, particularly in Windows. And this is definitely the case. This thing looks like early 1990s Unix. If you ever use the common desktop environment, it's going to remind you a lot of that, and it's going to be really, really ugly. Most people would go, bleh, this is really ugly. So save yourself a lot of headache. Ignore this thing. Never touch it. Leave it in the dustbin of history where it belongs. Okay, Qt or PySide? Okay, this is a given for me. I do all my GUI programming in PySide, but what does he say here? Best for commercial, multimedia, scientific, or engineering desktop applications. I don't know what this guy's talking about. I really don't. Some of the Qt the applications I've written in PySide, using PySide, are extremely simple. All they are is a basic form, or in the case of one of the first applications I built, I was going out to a service provided by PayPal called Braintree. I would use their Python library to go in and pull in transactional data, and I had a simple table widget where I was showing the transactions, and you could search on transactions, you could open up a transaction to look at it. It was just easy, considering that at times we needed to search. So commercial, yes, there is a lot of commercial application software written using Qt. Not necessarily PySide, but C++ Qt. Wireshark is a great example of an application that uses Qt. So I don't understand why would this be just for scientific or engineering? I mean, I've written all kinds of applications in Qt. So I don't get what he's saying here, especially from a guy who writes books on PyQt and PySide. So anyway, this is the one I always recommend to people. If you want to start with something, start looking at Qt. It's cute. No, sorry for the joke. Okay. Moving right along. Advertisement. Okay. PyQt, PySide with QML. This is another good example. This is the KDE desktop environment. Plasma is actually using the Qt framework, and they actually use the Qt markup language. Best for Raspberry Pi, controllers, industrial and consumer electronics. That might be true, and I also think this is very good for mobile. Kiwi. Now Kiwi, I don't have a whole lot of experience with. I did play around with it maybe a year ago. I was looking at possibly doing a Android application, and I still need to do one in my personal life here. So while most other GUI frameworks are bindings or toolkits written in other programming language, mostly C++, Kiwi is perhaps the only framework which is primarily written in pure Python, which is true. It is primarily written in Python. If you want to create touchscreen oriented interfaces, that's true. with a focus on mobile platforms such as Android and iOS, this is the way to go. Now, okay, not necessarily. This is a way to go. It may not be the definitive way to go. It is one particular option for you to go. There's also this interesting, and I didn't know this existed, there's a third-party add-on for Kiwi named Kiwi MD that replaces Kiwi's widgets with ones that are compliant with Google's material design. If you're unfamiliar with this, go ahead and look this up. So for mobile development, I actually think this is actually a better option. I know and I've seen that you can do mobile applications in Qt. My particular mentor from Qt, he said he never ever got it to work. He has a few PyQt applications at his job that he maintains. He never got the mobile stuff to work. In fact, he put out a plea and he said if anybody has ever gotten it to work or is good with it, please get in touch with me, because he wanted to know how to do it. This actually gives us a different option, which might be a little bit better than dealing with Qt and trying to do a mobile application. I look at Qt as doing, PyQt as doing traditional desktop applications. Microsoft Word, Wireshark. These aren't touchscreen, these aren't mobile, these are traditional. You bring up forms, you fill in the data, you show data in tables, you can edit the data, you can display the data in charts and graphs and export it, and those types of applications. This is a little bit better for mobile app development. However, I'm going to put a caveat to that and say that I have not done or used it for this, so cross your fingers. But if you're looking at doing a mobile application using Python, this might be your way to go. Give this a look. Okie dokie. Where are we going here? PySimple GUI. Best for quickly building GUIs for simple tools, very portable. PySimple GUI aims to simplify GUI application development for Python. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but provides a wrapper around other existing frameworks such as TKEnter, Qt, PySide 2, so in other words out of date, WXPython, and Remy. By doing so, it lowers the barrier. Let's see here. While there is a separate port for each framework, the TKEnter version is considered the most feature complete. Oh, good lord. Oh, I forgot about that when I was reading this. Anyway, I have seen people use this before. I look at this and I go, why would I use this when I can just use Qt? But anyway, WXPython. Okay, now WXPython is another old one. Now PyQt itself, PyQt PySide, is not exactly new either. But WXPython is definitely one of the older ones out there. It's based on WXWidgets, which is a C++ library for writing cross-platform applications. Oh, and he even says that for the popular cross-platform GUI toolkit called WXWidgets. It is implemented as a set of Python extensions that wrap around the GUI components of the popular WXWidget cross-platform library written in good old C++, which, by the way, C++, that was its grade. It wasn't supposed to be its name. Okay, that is a joke, but anyway, I'm going to offend all the C++ people out there. WXPython uses native widgets on most platforms, ensuring that your application looks and feels at home. However, WXPython is known to have certain platform-specific quirks, and it also doesn't provide the same level of abstraction between platforms as Qt. This may affect how easy it is to maintain cross-platform applications. It's under active development. This is true. It is also currently being re-implemented from scratch under the name WXPython Phoenix. The team behind WXWidgets is also responsible for WXPython. I don't think this is the case. I'll have to go back and look that up. I don't think they are the same. I could be wrong though. Which was initially released in 1998. Okay. I did play around with this. I never had any real problem with it. I found Qt to be a little bit more feature rich, and I actually found better information out there on Qt at the time. So this isn't exactly a bad framework. If you're looking at doing a more simple desktop application, then you may actually want to take a look at WXPython. It is simple, and there is a piece of software out there called WXGlade that actually helps you drag and drop design your interface. I watched, there's a whole tutorial series out there on it. It's pretty decent, actually, and I thought that would be a viable option. So if I wasn't doing Qt, I might actually look at that as a possibility. I don't need to do that anymore because I can do what I want to do in Qt. PyGo object, this is GTK plus, so this is best for developing applications for the GNOME, or if you're a purist, GNOME desktop, which, by the way, if it's GNOME, where's the A? Ooh. If you intend to create an application that integrates well with GNOME and other GTK desktop apps, this might be your good choice. I don't do this because of the simple fact that I may want to run my applications on Windows, maybe on Mac OS at some point, so I've never really touched this. But if you're interested in doing just GTK applications, this PyGo object might be something you want to look at. Remy, this is web-based UIs for Python applications. I have never used this. Never seen it, never used it. However, this is supposed to be really good for web-based UIs for Python apps. So this stands for Remote Interface. It's the ideal solution for applications that are intended to be run on servers and other headless setups. For instance, the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry. Unlike most other GUI frameworks, Remy is rendered completely in the browser using a built-in web server. Hence, it is completely platform independent and runs equally well on all platforms. Now this, when everybody says this, runs equally well, I kind of shake my head and go, probably does, you never know. Let's see. Remy requires no prior knowledge of HTML or other similar web technologies. You only need to have a working understanding of Python to use it. Now, that's actually decent. Which is then automatically translated into HTML. It also comes included with a drag and drop GUI editor. Ooh, now that's kind of nice. That is akin to Qt Designer for PyQt and PySide. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look at this actually. So this actually doesn't look that bad. Somebody's probably got some really good tutorial videos out on this. I'll have to look at that. Though, if you're looking at doing a web app, maybe instead of going the traditional web app route, where you have to have a whole bunch of knowledge, maybe this is okay. Maybe, although, I mean, there are things out there like React, where you could do something in React. I don't know. I mean, there might be, well, there probably is, much better web-based technologies for doing a web-based application, but hey, this might be a good learning experience. I'll have to try this. Oh, that's the end of it. So conclusion, if you're looking to build Python, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. It's true. But like I said, and I want to reiterate this, again, please stop using TKEnter and its derivatives. Okay, don't use custom TKEnter, don't use TKEnter. If you hear the word TKEnter, just think bad, don't do. Okay, it's a rabbit hole. It's a big rabbit hole. And what's going to happen is you are going to fall into it. Okay, so like I said, I agreed with a lot of it. I don't agree with some of it, but I thought in case some of you do run into this article and were wondering about other people's opinions about it, that's my opinion about it anyway. Alright, so shifting gears, I want to talk to you today about YouTube. I've seen some interesting YouTube trends happening lately that I want to kind of get the community's opinion on, and so if you want to leave me a comment what you think about some of this stuff. But one thing that somebody asked me a while back was, would you ever quit your full-time job and actually do YouTube as a full-time job? My answer was very quickly no. And the reason is, well, number one, I have a really good full-time job, and it's a full-time job that I really enjoy. So I would not want to go from getting a steady paycheck every 2 weeks to doing something that is reliant on things like the algorithm. I constantly hear YouTubers, full-time YouTube content creators, constantly complaining about Al Gore and his rhythms. And it drives me up a wall because as a content consumer, for the most part, I mean, I do these videos from time to time, but as a content consumer, I'm like, I really don't care about the algorithm. But they do complain about it a lot. The other thing I have seen a couple of YouTubers doing, the ones that I follow, is, well, number one, they have said, well, I'm going to be cutting this particular area of content from my page because it doesn't do well. Now, we need to translate doesn't do well, and what that means is ain't making money. In other words, they're so reliant on ad revenue to be able to make their money that if people don't watch the content that they're doing, then it really doesn't make them any money. So they have to cut it out and do things that are going to make them a decent amount of money. I don't ever want to be put in that boat, which is why I would never do this as a full-time job. I've even seen a few other YouTubers, maybe one or two in the last, I don't know how many months, that have said, well, yeah, I'm going to continue to make YouTube videos, but my ad revenue is way down, so I'm starting a couple of side gigs, and this is what I'm going to be doing. And I chuckle, not because of their problem. I do feel for them, believe me. But these are some of the same YouTubers who, before the 2020 situation kicked in, they were all gung-ho about doing YouTube full-time. Do I think YouTube is a good, viable, long-term career choice? Absolutely not. I don't think it is at all. I think if you want to do YouTube on the side, like I do, go ahead. But I think you should find a real good job that you enjoy doing and do that instead. So I've seen those particular trends, and I don't want to be in that boat, which is why I would never do this full time. I make videos when I want to make videos. I don't want to be painted into a particular corner where I have to make content in order to make money, to pay for the house and to eat, that type of thing. I'm not saying that doing YouTube as a full-time career is bad. There's no bad or good about that type of thing. I'm just saying I don't see it as a viable option. I know some people make it big with it, and God bless them, let them do it. I just, for the majority of people, I just don't think it's going to work. I don't even know. I don't want to get into the whole concept of, well, why are they successful? Why is this person so successful versus this person? I haven't got a clue. Okay, I have no idea. I just know that for me, doing this on a full-time thing, I think it would drive me crazy. And it all boils down to ad revenue. I mean, think of it this way. When the 2020 situation hit, everybody was stuck at home. Well, what does that mean? Well, they're consuming content. So a lot of these content creators made a nice amount of money from ad revenue because people were constantly consuming their content. Well, this also had a couple of side effects. Number one is more people started making content. So for instance, if you're a Minecraft YouTuber, unless you have a giant following like Mumbo Jumbo, think about it. You're a brand new Minecraft YouTuber. Look at all the Minecraft content that is on YouTube. It is enormous. And so how are you going to compete with that? You've got thousands of people that are out there doing Minecraft content. Now, the 2020 situation was not going to last forever. So what happens is they go out there and the ad revenue starts to dry up. Well, a couple of reasons, I think. Number one, the 2020 situation blew over and people start going out again. Well, they're not watching as much content. That means less ad revenue. But another side effect to this that I think has become another bane of their existence is ad blockers. I have a sneaking suspicion that there are quite a few more people running web browsers with ad blockers than there used to be. And that means no ads, no ad revenue. At least I think that's how that works, is that if the ad is never shown, doesn't register, they don't get the ad revenue. And why is this? Well, people hate ads. Okay, people are getting very sick and tired of the amount of advertisements that they're getting when they're trying to consume streaming media like YouTube. Amazon has even hit me now with advertisements on content that I'm actually paying monthly subscription for. So I flip in a few extra bucks to Amazon every month so I can have a Paramount Plus. And I do that because it has a lot of the Star Trek stuff on it, and I happen to like watching the Star Trek stuff. But now there's an ad at the beginning of every single one of them. Drives me nuts. I'm paying these guys extra money so that I don't have to watch ads. And what am I having to do? I'm having to watch ads. Hulu. I have the Hulu Disney Plus bundle because I happen to like some of the Star Wars stuff, like The Mandalorian. And in order to be able to see that, I have to pay for those subscriptions. But again, I'm seeing advertisements when I'm paying. And in the case of Amazon, they said, well, if you flip us a few extra dollars per month, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're already getting enough of my money, pal. So people are getting inundated and bombed with advertising all the time, and I think it's finally driving people up the wall, and they're tired of it. So ad revenue for some of these guys is way down, and they're having to look at, well, what are they going to do? They're looking at doing the content that makes them the most money. That may not be the content that brings them the most joy. And then also, they may have to do side gigs. Now, you could say, well, Jason, if you're doing YouTube content about GUI programming in Python, what about doing something like a Patreon? Okay, Patreon is an option, but there again, let's say that you put Patreon, you get a Patreon, and people start donating money to you. So even if it's $5 a month, okay, let's say somebody is donating $5 a month to you. Well, I sit back and look at it this way. If somebody is going to flip me $5 or $10 a month, then I feel the obligation that I have to make content. What if I don't have any content? What am I going to do? I could start covering the same topics over and over and over again, but that gets boring. So I just don't want that obligation of, yeah, these people are paying me. Now, I hate to use this example. Please forgive me. But look at sites like OnlyFans. Yes, I know, before the torches and pitchforks come out. If you look at a site like OnlyFans, if you're going to have people flipping you money per month, then you have to make content. Otherwise, they're not going to pay you. And in my particular case, if I was to do a Patreon, I don't think that anybody would actually subscribe to it or sign up for it because sometimes I can't make content. I'm too busy. I got stuff to do. And if that goes on for a couple of months, they're going to stop donating. So what was the point? Plus, screen went blank. Oh, there we go. Plus, what was I saying? Oh, yes, the donating money. I just don't want that obligation of having to donate or having to make content because people are donating. I want the freedom, which is what I have today, of making content when I want to make content. I don't want to have to worry about being on a schedule. So no, not doing YouTube full time, and I'm not going to do anything like a Patreon. I'm just going to do videos when I want to do videos. And I have a good full-time day job, and I'm going to stick with that. But leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think has been going on. Let me know if you're doing YouTube full time, what's been happening with you. And have you changed your YouTube watching and browsing habits due to things like advertising and maybe being oversaturated with content, that type of thing? In the event, that's all I have for today, everyone. So I hope everyone has a great week ahead. I'm recording this on a Sunday. And other than that, happy coding.